6, we're back again. Kristi and Katie, your crime time friends. Stories, justice, laughs collide. True Crime Squad, come join the ride. Grab the clues, let's take a stand. For victims' voices, hand in hand. True Crime Squad, it's time to shine. Season 6, your turn, your time. True Crime Squad, where justice meets hilarity.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Kristi Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey everybody. It is Blue Shirt Day.
It is Blue Shirt Day.
We didn't even talk about it. Sandy not wearing blue. What the hell?
Geez,
with
Sandy,
it, Sanders.
Get the notice. Well, what you guys don't know is that I showed up to the show last night in this shirt that I had just barely put on and spilled my tea all over it on my way in here. To my office, and when I sat down, I realized that it was a big wet spot on my boobs. So that didn't seem right. Yeah, so I had to run and change. So anyway, it's Blue Shirt Day today because the tea is long gone. Yeah.
There you go.
Good Lord. Spilling things on myself is the story of my life.
Oh, God, me too.
It's insane, but yeah.
Yeah,
well, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous day here. Sounds like a lot of you guys are having some beautiful weather today, so yay, we'll take it.
Beautiful fall day here. It's not even that hot.
It is.
Pretty great.
It is. Some of my trees have they're doing this patchy thing where some of them have big spots that are all completely yellow, and then the rest of the tree is green. So, it's coming. That's what it means.
It is coming. Yeah, that is entirely what it means.
Also, with the crows and the magpies, this is always a weird time of year because they don't need me. I mean, let's be real. They never really need me. But they especially don't need me right now because there's grasshoppers all over in the fields. The farmers are digging, and so they're all out, hitting all the crops and whatnot. However, so they're not usually out in the trees when I go out and feed them in the mornings. However, everything is still being eaten throughout the day. But this morning when I went out to feed, there was a whole tree full of magpies hollering at me. So that kind of did my heart good.
That's cool.
Come back, friends.
Last week, Mike goes, "You got to come look. There's the coolest bird outside. It has a blue tail."
Oh.
I forget that Mike is colorblind as hell. Okay.
Right.
So I'm like, what? And I have to get in a certain position to even be able to see it because it's kind of in front of my car in the driveway. Yeah, it was a mourning dove. It doesn't have a blue tail. It was gray and white. It was a little bit gray. See that blue tail? I'm like, sure don't.
Oh no!
It's like I've never seen a bird like that before. I'm like, we have mourning doves in all our trees. They're here year round. I was all set for a blue jay or something cool, the Rocky Mountain bluebird, which is our state bird. No, it was just a mourning dove.
Ma'am, I have discovered a new breed.
Yes. Yeah, he was pretty sure he had, but no.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love it.
Cracked me up.
All righty. Well, very good. Today we're doing a special episode, putting yet another spotlight on some missing kids here in the U.S., which there are close to 100,000 missing children in the U.S. So this is the tiniest of drops in the bucket, but these are mostly cases we've covered over the years, and I just think every once in a while it bears to remember how that these kids have not been found, and that they are still out there somewhere, maybe, somehow, right? So for us, it's important, I think, every once in a while to just send out that reminder and help us all remember these kids' names and their faces and their stories, partly to honor them and partly because these are still missing children. Are they out there? Does someone have them? Well, unfortunately, that becomes less likely over time, but still, these are stories that should be continued to be told. So we're going to revisit 6 cases that we have discussed with you in the past, and we're opening a new one that we haven't talked about before. So we're going to start with that case, and this is the missing child, Noel Rodriguez-Alvarez.
Yes. And this is little Noel with his shitty mother, Cindy.
Mm.
Let me just tell you kind of the timeline of his case. Noel was last seen in Everman, Texas in October or November of 2022. This is one of those, not sure actually when this child went missing, but somewhere in that period of time. From July 2022 forward, so right before he went missing, he'd been to doctors. He had missed things like doctor's appointments. He wasn't enrolled in school. His extended family had been worried and had actually requested a welfare check on him because the last time they saw him, he was looking unhealthy and malnourished.
Oh.
So in March of 2023, some extended family members said, "We have not seen this little boy in a really long time."
Yeah.
And asked for a welfare check on him and his siblings, of which there are 7 total children
Oh,
in
dear
this family.
God.
I know. So on March 25th of 2023, an Amber Alert is issued for Noel because he's not with his mother. His mother, Cindy Rodriguez-Singh, and her husband, Arshdeep Singh, who is not Noel's father, they decided to flee the country.
Oh, boy.
Yes, they leave the country. I believe they went to India. And when they go, they take 6 children with them. But 7th, little Noel, is not with them when they leave.
Oh, boy.
So when they leave the country, authorities issue a warrant for Cindy for abandonment and endangering a child. They're like, how the hell do you leave the country without your kid, who we've confirmed now is missing? Like, it's very sketchy. In April of 2023, they transitioned this case from a missing persons case to a death investigation.
Sure.
They determine at this point they don't think that this little kid is alive. So in October of 2023, Cindy Rodriguez-Singh is indicted on charges of capital murder, injury to a child, and abandonment relating to Noel. But hey, guess what? Cindy is in India.
Right.
Cindy Rodriguez-Singh actually gets added on July 1st of this year, because she's been just in the wind this whole time. She gets added to the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list.
Wow.
And on August 20th of 2025, she was actually arrested in India and extradited to the U.S. and booked into the Tarrant County Jail in Texas.
That all happened in that short of a time?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, but I mean, unfortunately, this little guy's been missing for 3-ish years at this point. Yeah. There have been extensive searches in Texas. Cadaver dogs digging up sites, reviewing landfill stuff. Like, they've never found anything. So we have absolutely no idea where his body is or can they confirm death. We know that the police absolutely believe that he is dead. We don't know a lot because this is still an active investigation, why they believe that, other than the fact that his entire family fled to another country without him.
Right.
They think he died sometime in late 2022.
Yeah, huge props to Texas. Washington, you could learn something. Yeah.
Right? Like, actually has stayed on this in ways that, right. Like, you think about Oakley Carlson, like, this is the kind of stuff that could have been going on. He had some known health problems and some developmental delays. He was a very vulnerable little boy. So, of course, some questionable things that have happened. Cindy and her husband flee the country to India. Of course, why would they do that if this child is alive?
Right.
We don't know what Noel's siblings have said. As far as we know, we don't know if authorities have questioned those kids or not because they've been in India too.
Are they still in India?
Mom's been extradited. I don't know for
Right.
sure if the husband and the children are back. The husband, I believe, had actually been deported to India.
Okay.
So I'm not 100% sure. There are kids that are older than Noel. And so you would think that maybe they would know something, or at least have some idea of when's the last time they remember him being around.
Right.
But we don't know that for sure yet. Some things that we do know is that Cindy had in the past called Noel evil and suggested that he might be possessed by demons.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Yeah. Not good.
Oh,
In
poor
situations
Noel.
like that, we do know that, a child like that is extremely vulnerable. A disabled little boy.
Yeah.
So one thing that we do know now that just happened is that Cindy decided that she was going to tell the police what had happened to Noel. She told the police that she sold him to a woman at a Fiesta grocery store.
Sure, Cindy. I'm just sure that's true. Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't think that we can trust or believe anything that this woman says at this point, but she's just telling stories now to try to get her ass out of trouble.
Right.
I'm afraid. There's no evidence that actually happened or when or, where that might have occurred. This is just, I think it's just a bullshit story.
You want me to believe, Cindy, that you sold your child at a grocery store, which would indicate that you really needed money. But at the same time, you could afford for yourself and 6 children to relocate to India?
I know.
Can you imagine what it must have cost, besides the fact that she had to get passports and visas for 6 children and herself, and pay for flights, food, accommodations, housing, all of those things to move to India? Yeah, that doesn't track for me at all.
Not happening. No, not happening at all. So it's pretty clear that Noel is no longer with us.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, I'm grateful that he hasn't been being drug around, and hopefully pray to God he has not been trafficked. But at this point, it does really look like he is deceased and has been since the end of 2022.
Yeah.
But we'll be watching Cindy as she moves through the legal system, because she is going on trial for capital murder, which is exactly what should be happening to these parents who cannot tell you the whereabouts of their tiny children. Like,
and
thank
that
you,
have
Texas
done
and the
sketchy
FBI.
Shit. Yeah.
How many more stories do we know like this where the parents have never been charged with anything? How does your little child like this just disappear?
Yep.
And the only person that's legally responsible for her, apparently, I don't know where his biological father is, but if you can't say where he is and present him, you're going to prison.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it ought to be. Yeah, it is kind of a weird, yucky Lori Vallow kind of thing where she's telling stories and stuff. But I mean, fleeing to India like that. Yeah. Like, no shit. This child died probably in sketchy circumstances.
Yep.
And
you didn't report it because you didn't want to get in trouble. That's not what innocent people do. When an innocent person's child dies, they call 911. Yes. That's the first thing they do.
Yeah. It's very clear.
Yeah.
There's responsibility there. So this is very new to us, although this case has been going on for a while, but it's kind of new because they just barely got her back into the US in August. So now I think we'll be seeing some things move forward, and we'll keep an eye on her.
Big props to India too. I mean, it takes years to extradite people from Canada, from the UK. The fact that they got her back here that quickly is amazing.
I think it has something to do with her being put on the FBI's most wanted list.
Maybe so. I mean, but Alaverdian was on Interpol's most wanted list.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a missing child.
True. Yeah.
a little bit different, maybe. And I have no idea what extradition is like between the U.S. and India, but I'm impressed that she's back
Yeah.
here, and I want
Yeah.
her to answer for this. But it's going to be one of those. I'm afraid it'll be like a Harmony Montgomery kind of situation where we'll never know where this poor child's body is.
Mm-hmm. I would
So
imagine that's unfortunately correct. That seems to be how that little Emmanuel in California, it's sure looking that way for him
yes,
as well.
it is. It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's head to Hawaii and talk
This
about
case just.
Isabel Kalua. Isabel Kalua's, that's her, the name that her adopted parents changed her name to. Her initial name was Ariel uh, Summers? Ariel, anyway. Sellers, sorry, Ariel
Sellers,
Sellers.
yes.
And so I usually call her Ariel. Her bio family still refers to her as Ariel, and frankly, these bastards don't get to claim any part of this child, so
No.
we're going to call her Ariel. We've talked about this case a lot. We're still going to talk about it some more because there has still not been justice for this little girl. So let's take a look. So Ariel, let me get to my notes here. Ariel went missing during COVID. And
Yeah.
when she went missing, it was the typical, oh no, we don't know what happened. We just woke up and this child is just gone. That's what her parents said. We
She
woke
just
up one
wandered away at
morning.
6 years old.
Yep. And the police came and looked, of course. Of course, it was the same kind of story. We put her to bed last night and she was fine, and we woke up this morning and the front door was open and she was gone. Sure, Jan, that's what they all say. And that's what these fools said too. So let's talk a little bit about her. In 2018 to 2019, she and her siblings were taken from their parents, their bio mom, due to substance abuse issues, and foster care arrangements were made, and they were sent to live with Sonny and Lahua Kalua, and or Isaac. Isaac is his real name, but they call him Sonny. So anyway, three of them, Isabella and three of her sisters, went to the Kaluas. A fourth sister went to a relative. This has been a part of the problem all along, is because these kids' mom was estranged from her mom, who is a social worker in Hawaii on a different island. And she was given no opportunity to take these kids. And she has said all along, had she known that they were in foster, she would have taken them right away. She literally was working adjacent to the foster system on another island. She didn't know. They were estranged because of substance abuse and issues. The daughter had been living a pretty rough life. So she didn't know until these kids were adopted by the Kaluas that this was happening. Or they would have never been out of grandma's care.
That is so sketchy to me, because here in Idaho, the very first thing Child Protection does is they look for family placements. They contact everybody, review everybody to see if someone in the child's family can take them, to keep them within their own family.
Yeah.
Something is so wrong with this case,
Right.
that happened.
Absolutely. So about 18 months later, Kalua's legally adopt Ariel and change her name to Isabella. 18 months. That's how long it took to sever mom's rights and allow someone else to adopt her.
It was pretty fucking quick, too.
It was quick.
In Idaho, it's 15 months before they can start seeking to sever someone's parental rights. The child has to be in foster care for 15 months. And it doesn't even have to be consecutive months, but 15 months total. So to do that and get through the adoption in 18 months,
it happened really fast. And so they're kind of slowly adopting all of the kids. And on August 21st, 2020, Isaac goes to the doctor with COVID-like symptoms and takes a 2-week sick leave from work from August 21st to September 7th. And police think now that that was probably to conceal the evidence and help mom deal with her body. This is according to one of the older sister's statements. So backing up a little bit to mid-August, this is when they believe that Ariel was murdered. So the statements from the older sister indicate that they were keeping her in a dog cage. They had a crate that they verifiably bought from Amazon, and they were keeping her in the bathroom in the dog crate at night because their favorite punishment was withholding food. And Ariel was always in trouble. And so at night, when everybody went to sleep, this hungry little child was sneaking into the kitchen and giving herself food. We couldn't have that, so they started locking her in a dog crate in the bathroom at night. But that resulted in a lot of screaming and crying. Because she was hungry and being tortured in a crate. And so they started putting duct tape over her mouth in the dog crate at night for her to sleep, so they could sleep because they were tired of listening to her cry at night.
My God.
And one morning they woke up and she was dead. She had duct tape over her nose and mouth. So, according to the sibling,
It's how you suffocate someone, especially a child.
Yeah. Lahua ran a bathtub and put her in the tub trying to revive her. The parents actually did ask this older sibling to help move the body and keep things secret. But as soon as these kids ended up back in CPS care when Ariel was reported missing, she sang real quick.
How fucking terrifying for that kid.
Yeah. So this, again, was mid-August. On September 12th, this is when the Kaluahs call the police and say, hey, we just woke up this morning and our kid isn't here. So the police start looking. On September 13th, a day later, she's officially reported missing. Then a big search goes on, and the other kids are taken into custody at that time. On November 10th of that year, so it's about a month after she was reported missing, Isaac and Lahua are both arrested and charged with second-degree murder, hindering prosecution, persistent non-support of a child, endangering the welfare of a minor, and Lahua is also charged with the abuse of a family member or a household member. What we know now is that their trial has now been delayed 10 times.
It is
The 10th time was
stupid.
just recently. This happened in 2021. Still haven't gone to trial. They have fought tooth and nail. They have both repeatedly been seeking bond. They both repeatedly seeking just a discharge of the charges since there's no body. We also know that the older sister says that the reason there's no body is because essentially they were taking parts of her body and flushing them down toilets at public beaches.
Weren't they breaking it down in a barbecue as well?
Mm-hmm.
God.
Yep. They desecrated her body, completely broke it down as much as they could. The older kids were standing guard at bathroom doors while mom was going in various bathrooms with large pots, the daughter had said, and pouring things down the toilet and flushing them. I'm so sorry. I know this is so disgusting and terrible.
It's so awful.
So
this is Harmony Montgomery level horrific.
it is. So just last week, Lahua tried yet again to get bail, which was denied. And we're hoping that it's
so many times for bail.
Mm-hmm. We also know that the Bio family had reported to CPS several times that they were concerned about Ariel because they were seeing her around town with these guys looking very, very skinny. They had seen her with bruises. They also saw her dragging her leg in a department store or a Walmart parking lot, and she looked injured. And as it turned out, she did have a broken leg at that time. And a family member had said they saw them walking through a Walmart parking lot, and Ariel was quite a way behind them, And, we're talking about a tiny kid. She was 46 pounds and 3'3", 6 years old. She was itty bitty, walking way behind them in a busy parking lot, dragging her leg like she was injured. So we know that CPS had been contacted on multiple occasions from people who had seen things that they were really concerned about. And yet, not a thing was done. And this baby died. So she's still considered missing because her body is missing. And also, there's yet to be justice for her. And so I'm not letting go of this case until there is. I don't think she'll ever actually be found. But the delay is unbelievable. Yep. And the way both of them sit in court with this blank look on their face, like they just can't fathom why they're there, is just so infuriating to me. This is the saddest case. This never should have happened.
And all of her poor little siblings.
Yep. That have been through absolute hell with those people. Also, they both had priors. Why were they allowed to adopt children?
Right.
Why?
And why these children who had a grandmother who was a social worker and could have taken them? Like, the whole thing is so fucked up and sketchy. Like, what happened in the system that failed these kids?
Well, and here's the thing. Ariel had a little sister that was, I think, 1, and they were just wrapping up her adoption. And they had to go to in front of the judge on somewhere around, about somewhere in the 3rd week, I think, of September, or somewhere right about in there, to finalize that adoption. And normally the whole family comes, there's pictures, it's a celebration, it's a whole thing.
Right.
So it's just a week before that suddenly they report that Ariel is missing. And there's a strong belief out there that the reason that timing lined up that way is because they knew they couldn't show up at the courthouse without her. And so they had to fake this missing story before that happened. Yeah. So we'll continue to track it. When these motherfuckers finally go to trial, I'm going to talk about it until my jaw falls off. So just be prepared.
Absolutely.
So, Kristi, let's talk about Summer Wells.
Oh, boy. Here's Summer Wells in the red. The picture on the right is a fairly new age-progressed photo. Summer Wells went missing in 2021 also, and so she's been missing for 4 years. So let me tell you a little bit about her case. Sorry, I have to get to the right notes here. So Summer Wells went missing on June 15th of 2021. She was 5. She was reported missing from her parents' home. This is Hawkins County, Tennessee. It was about 6:30 p.m. That they reported her missing. So there was a big ground search all around her home overnight.
Mm-hmm.
And at midnight on June 16th, there was an endangered child alert issued. And then by 1 p.m. the next day, that was upgraded to an Amber Alert. They looked for Summer every fucking where. Okay.
Oh, everywhere.
The investigation into Summer Wells is so exhaustive.
Oh, yeah. That it's not for lack of trying. Yeah.
It's like Summer just vanished off the planet. It is so crazy, including the investigation into her parents.
Yeah.
They went all over. Security cameras, trail cams, interviewing neighbors. They searched creeks, ponds, woods, everywhere. They, at one point on the 25th of June, asked for help in locating a red Tacoma pickup that might have been a witness. That pickup was in the area around the time that she went missing. They really have no idea if it had anything to do with her, but like, there is just nothing about Summer. They searched and searched and searched for her. By about the 27th of June, they started scaling it back because they had looked absolutely everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then EcuSearch, which is a private search organization, got involved in July of 2021. There are like 1,000 leads that came from that search that led to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
In October of 2021 is when her father, Don Wells, was arrested for a DUI.
Yeah.
There's been an absolutely exhaustive investigation into Summer's parents. They are not the shiniest
Yeah.
people you'll ever meet, for sure.
No.
But they've never been able to prove that they did anything either.
Yeah. No.
In about March of 2022, the Wells family stopped cooperating with the police. About that time, there have been lots of updates over the years that are basically like, well, we're just still looking for her.
Yeah.
The new age progress image I'm showing you here was put out by TBI in August of 2025 to say this is what she would look like now. Her siblings were placed in child protective custody. There's a lot of alcohol problems and mental health problems here with dad and mom.
Yeah.
Dad and mom also split up in this process. But this child is just
vanished.
She'd been outside in the garden with her mom and grandma.
Mm-hmm.
And then she went inside, and supposedly what they say is that she went down into the basement to play.
Mm-hmm.
And then they came in sometime later and she just wasn't there.
Yep.
And so they don't know exactly what time she went missing because she was just kind of separated from her family. She has brothers, older brothers, I believe. She was the youngest.
But they live super rural. I mean, their house was really rural. It's not like she just wandered into the street and somebody grabbed her. That just wasn't the case of where they live.
Right. Like how, I don't know. And they have looked everywhere for this kid. This case is just unbelievable to me how little information there is even now.
Oh, it's so puzzling and concerning. Yeah.
There have been a lot of tips and leads over the years. None of them have brought anything.
No.
And basically, she's just still listed as a missing child. I mean, to think that this much time has passed, and I know how much investigation there has been done if you read the whole thing that TBI has done and the FBI, like everybody. And they just have not gotten anywhere with this.
Yeah.
But there's also no indication that Summer was missing prior to when she was reported to be missing. Like there were sightings of her by various people. Like when she went missing, it appears to be, at least on that evening, is when she went missing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she has just vanished.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly sad case, and it's an incredibly maddening case.
Right.
Because this is not one of those cases where they just didn't try and didn't care. That's not true.
Not at all.
And they absolutely turned her parents' lives upside down.
Yeah.
Talked to every single neighbor, anybody. They talked to everybody that had ever come in contact with Summer Wells.
And the public really, really went ham on her parents. And they don't have great criminal histories and great pasts at all.
No,
but
and Dad's had more DUI problems and things, and Mom's got mental health problems. But still,
well, the dad has an adult son that's a registered sex offender.
Right.
There's a lot of issues, but man, they searched the parents upside down and backwards.
Never found anything.
Not a thing. Yep.
So what happened to Summer Wells? I have no fucking clue, you guys.
No.
This is one of those cases where a child literally just disappears.
Yep.
With no trace at all. I don't know that they'll ever find her at this point. She's been gone for 4 years.
Yeah. I hope
she's
they do.
considered missing. So they continue to, update like the age progression photos and prepare, in case she's out there somewhere. But if she was beamed up by aliens. Like, who took her?
Yeah. Did they check on the older son? If my memory serves, and I might be wrong about this, Kristi, but I think that he lives in Utah, and that he was not even
wasn't even in the state.
Yeah, wasn't anywhere near them. Yeah,
because they did. They turned him upside down too.
Yeah,
just nothing. This poor darling little girl is just gone.
See, I wondered that too, Kathy. Is it possible that they have mines in the area? Something that a tiny little
They
body could have slipped through?
searched. I don't
Everything with
think so.
dogs.
They searched with dogs. They drug ponds. Like,
Hmm.
I can't imagine that there's anything in the area that they didn't search. The ground search for her was so extensive.
Well, and
She was
the
a
dogs
teeny
didn't
little
pick her up
kid.
anywhere but on her family's
No.
property. They didn't pick
Yeah.
up any scent of her. Yeah.
No. Yeah. There was no trail. There was nothing.
Hmm.
So she's one, that we'll always remember. But my
Yeah.
God, there's just nothing.
Nothing to go on.
No.
Well, with that
And
being
that's what I
said,
have on summer.
yeah, let's head to Washington and talk about a case where absolutely nothing has been done. This is a missing child's case that I will never stop talking about or thinking about.
Oh man, this one makes me so goddamn mad.
I just can't understand it. This is Oakley Carlson. Oakley was born in 2016. Less than a year later, she was born in December. In September of 2017, so a little less than a year later, she's placed in foster care with Eric and Jamie Jo Hiles. Her parents, her dad's name is Andrew Carlson, and I should back up a little on that and just tell you about Andrew's love story. Because Andrew and his wife met because Andrew is a cop. Was a cop.
Yeah.
And while he was working as a cop, he met a woman named Jordan Bowers, who was a drug addict. And Andrew quickly fell into a relationship with Jordan, lost his job, also became a drug addict, and then pumped out a whole bunch of kids with methy parents. So that's the start that this poor little girl had, along with her siblings. So she gets put into foster care with Jamie Jo Hiles, Eric and Jamie Jo Hiles. And I bring up their names only because they are continuing to advocate for her up to this day. So they got her when she was about 7 months old. In July 2018, the permanent plan is changed to adoption while she's in foster. Mom and dad at that point have none of their kids. They're in and out of jail. They are active users. Things are not good. In March of 2019, they're forced to let her go to a supervised visit with her parents, even though they've been told that they can adopt, but it doesn't seem to be what's happening. So she goes to a supervised visit. She comes home with red marks and scratches on her face. And Mom lets the caseworker know this is not good. In May of 2019, Andrew Carlson fails to comply with a court-ordered domestic violence treatment program and just seems to get away with it. In late 2019, somewhere between November and December, with absolutely no notice, Oakley is jerked out of the Hiles home and returned to her bio parents. There has been some reunification visits, mostly unsupervised, and she's just gone, returned to them. And the Hiles are absolutely heartbroken. They absolutely thought that they were going to adopt this child. They've had her for a few years. They know what a bad situation is
Most
here.
of her life.
Yeah, and the state pretty much just turns their back on him. It's like, oh, well. So we know that February 10th is the last of 2021, so 2 years later. February 10th, 2021, we know is the last credible sighting of Oakley, according to Grays Harbor Sheriff's Office. However, in March of 2021, DCYF closes their case regarding Oakley without even verifying her welfare. They just decide they're all done with this. These kids are all returned to their parents, and they just close their case. In November
They should be in prison for that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Absolutely. In November of 2021, there's a fire at their family's home. And when the authorities come, they say that Oakley started it by playing with a lighter on the couch. However, court records later have shown that the fire likely began in a microwave. So at this point, the school principal shows up because she hears that there's been a fire, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she shows up at their house with some supplies, sees the other kids. One of the kids has played at her house before. Like, she's very aware of this family. But Oakley's not there. And so she asks the sibling, where is Oakley? And she says there is no Oakley. She also says that Oakley is gone and that Oakley went into the woods and was eaten by wolves.
Holy shit.
So on December 6th, she's finally reported missing after a wellness check is triggered. Because the principal's like, there's something up. So she calls CPS and is like, hey, or the sheriff's department. She calls somebody and says, hey, something doesn't seem to be right at this house, and Oakley is not there, and I'm uncomfortable with what's going on there.
Yeah.
So this is when the police finally show up there, and they're like, hey, just doing a wellness check here. And they're like, oh, yeah, so anyway, back on November 30th is the last time we've seen Oakley. We don't know where she is. That's what they tell the police. It's been a week, supposedly.
Jesus Christ.
So the parents are in a hotel in Tumwater at the time. And the police discover that the cell phone of the mother has been factory reset around noon that day.
Wonder what was on that phone.
So later in the day, of course, there's a non-emergency call reporting Oakley missing because suddenly, they've come looking for her, so now they have to report her missing. And initially, both parents are booked on suspicion of first-degree manslaughter. And then later, those charges are just dropped. In 2022, charges unrelated to Oakley's disappearance are brought. Child endangerment with a controlled substance for exposing the siblings to meth. They were cooking meth in their house, it looks like. And also, there was a child that was a year older, a sibling that was a year-ish older than Oakley, who had a growth hormone problem, and they were supposed to be giving her daily medication. And it was determined that during this time, she hadn't had those meds in over a year. And so they were actually charged, and they both went to jail for a little while for not giving that kid her medicine, which they should have been. But still.
Right. My God, that could be life-threatening.
Yeah. Nothing on Oakley. Now, that was all in 2021, 2022. In 2023, so both parents go to jail for a while. I think all of the kids now their rights have been severed. I think. I could be wrong about that, but that's my understanding. July 2023, Jordan Bowers is sentenced to 43 months in prison for identity theft, unrelated to Oakley. Supposedly,
Not
she's
her
still
missing child.
No, she's still considered to be a suspect in Oakley's case, but they haven't really, moved on that. And that's where we are. They have both been in and out of jail a few times, in and out of prison for short stays here and there. But as of right now, there have never been any charges filed. Nobody knows what happened to Oakley. They lived in a wooded area, and the police did do a large search at the time that Oakley was reported missing. And that's where we are today.
And then they just didn't do anything else.
No. There are people in that community, Jamie Jo Hiles as well as others, who have done a lot of things to try to make the police do something. They've managed to get Oakley's story into national news quite a few times. They have managed to do things like put up billboards in their town, put up signs. Oakley's grandparents all live in that town. And you know who's not looking for her? Any of her family. Nobody related to Oakley seems to give a fuck that she's missing. It's been the local community. It's been all the moms that live there. It's been Jamie Jo and her family and friends. They have looked everywhere. They have tried so hard to get the authorities to do something. But nothing has happened. Nothing.
It's just unfucking believable.
It is the saddest thing in the world because the Hiles wanted her. They loved her. The other kids were also in foster back and forth and also had other foster families that wanted them. And yet they just kept giving them back to these methy idiots that, well, what happened to Oakley? What happened to Oakley? And that's in a
And
nutshell. There's actually a
why don't
lot
they
more that's
care?
happened here, but that's probably the most that's the best I can do today. And also, right, why don't they care? Why isn't this child important enough to do something about it? How have
Right.
they dropped those charges and never brought something?
Right?
They're her parents. They have no
I mean,
story about where she is. Nothing.
right. Nothing. I mean, Texas went clear to India to
Yeah.
get Noel's mother
Yes.
to hold her accountable for him.
And they just keep putting,
I mean, Jordan's half the time in jail. Why can't they do something?
yeah.
You know, well,
so's
both of them
he.
are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
him too. They've both been in and out of jail quite a few times. We can't do a damn thing that they have a missing child out there. We're just going to let this just completely drift into the ethers, apparently. I hate
Right. So
it.
people can just disappear their children and have no consequences.
Hmm.
What the hell, Washington?
Yeah.
God.
Very,
this case
very
makes me so
frustrating.
fucking mad.
Oh, me too. Me too. So we'll never quit talking about Oakley because she deserves justice, and the people who
She
loved
does.
her deserve justice. But you know who deserves justice the most? Her parents.
Parents.
They deserve to go to prison forever.
Yes, they do.
The thing that makes me mostly sick is Jordan could be out there having more babies right now. I don't know if that makes me
God.
the most sick, but it makes me sick. Yeah.
And what kind of fucked up bullshit went on that they jerked her out of an adoptive placement?
Yeah.
Like, what happened within the system that did that
Right.
to this child? And just did that so abruptly when they had her since she was 7 months old.
Yeah.
The only family she knew
Yeah.
were her foster family.
Yeah. And the reunification visits were not well. Yeah.
And
It
they were
seemed as though,
unsupervised, which I don't
yeah,
fucking understand at all.
it seems as though the social worker had some beef with Jamie Joe. She seemed to not like the fact that, she was calling out the fact that she was going on these visits and coming home injured. And I don't know what all the, the relationships, is there, what the challenges were there. But what happened to Oakley was not right. It was not done right by her at all.
No. Everyone who should have made sure that this child was safe and had the authority to do so failed.
Right.
Everybody.
The fact that they closed their case after they hadn't had these kids for years and had just barely had them returned to them, and they just closed their
Right.
case and waltzed off into the sunset. They should have continued to
children
supervise
so
them for
young.
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, thank God for the
God.
principal paying attention and saying something, or who knows? Maybe nobody would still know that Oakley's missing.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll move on. We still have several cases, but this is one that I hold really close and we'll just never quit talking about. But
No.
let's talk about Sebastian Rogers.
Let's do. This is Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian lived in Hendersonville, Tennessee. And he was last seen on February 25th of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been gone about 18 months at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Sandy is really on one. He went missing wearing a black sweatshirt, sweatpants, and glasses. They think that he went missing on the night of February 25th. His mom discovered that he was gone. This is what she's reported when she went to wake him up for school the next morning on the 26th. Sebastian has autism. An endangered child alert was immediately issued for him because there's big concerns that this kid was not safe to be out alone. And then on February 27th, the next day, they elevated it to an Amber Alert.
Yeah.
There's a huge air, ground, water search for him. They even drained a pond looking for his body. they expand their efforts out into a Kentucky landfill. This is in Tennessee, but they expand out to a landfill in Kentucky. They don't find anything.
Yeah.
The Amber Alert continues. They continue looking. His parents, there's been a lot of criticism of his parents. They have investigated the living shit out of his family. They have found nothing. Just nothing.
Yeah.
This kid is just gone.
Yeah.
In April of 2024, they continue. They're working now with the feds, FBI, and Secret Service and doing more large-scale searches. They are looking everywhere for this child. There are no confirmed sightings of him since he went to bed on the 25th of February. Throughout all of the rest of 2024, sorry, hang on, my notes jumped on me. Sorry, jeez. These jumped a really long ways. There is a very active search with the community as well as the police and the feds. Everybody is looking for this kid. Throughout all of the rest of 2024. In February of 2025, the 1 year mark, there's a press conference that just says, look, we're still looking for him. There have been no active sightings. There's nothing. This is another one. There's nothing.
Yeah.
There was just barely, just at the beginning of September, another update saying that the reward is up to $50,000. He is still missing. They still have nothing and are asking for tips. There were some rumors that were swirling recently. They actually just came back. The FBI just came back again 2 days ago to dispel some rumors. Let me tell you a little bit about that. And to just say we're still looking and we don't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Sebastian, the thing that's always scary for me with these cases is think about how many of these children that we have talked about have known disabilities.
Yeah.
They are extremely vulnerable kids.
Yeah.
There just really is nothing new to report at all, other than he is missing. He didn't take anything with him. Now, remember, Sebastian was 15, so he's older, but because of his disability, he was still a very vulnerable child. Mm-hmm. He didn't take his phone with him. He didn't take any clothes, didn't take his shoes.
Yeah,
money,
and that was
food,
an
nothing.
interesting point because his dad said it would be very strange for him to go outside without shoes because once when he was younger, he got stung by a bee and was really, really afraid of being stung by a bee. And so he absolutely never went anywhere without shoes on.
No, never. The only thing that his parents could identify that was missing that belonged to him was a small yellow flashlight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did he hear a sound and go out to investigate it? I'm afraid we'll never know.
Yeah.
You know, the FBI still says they're working this, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at this point, what could
they have also searched his parents, mom and stepdad, and bio dad.
Inside out and backwards.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people that don't like his parents and don't like how they've handled this, but they have found no evidence whatsoever that they did anything to him. And there were confirmed sightings of Sebastian before the time in which he was reported missing. So this isn't one of those cases where he's been missing for a long time and somebody, you know, and then they finally decide to. That wasn't the case with Sebastian. There were sightings of him.
Yeah.
It's very similar to Summer Wells. He just vanished into thin air.
Yeah.
It's absolutely heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm. And just
and
hard
his
to fathom.
Community really came out
and
continue to search for him. Like, people in his community have not forgotten about him. The FBI have made it very clear that they have not forgotten about him.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing that just fucking enrages me about Oakley Carlson is all of these other cases.
Mm-hmm.
There's still their cases open. They're being looked for.
Mm-hmm.
There's work being done. Oakley Carlson, there's nothing being done.
Yeah.
And you have to wonder with Oakley Carlson if the fact that dad had been a police officer has anything to do with this.
Right.
Who is
Why?
making those decisions
Right.
that
And the
no
people
one
who do
is
care about
looking?
Oakley, they have tried so many times to get responses to email, to go right into people's offices and talk to them, and they just get completely brushed off every time. There is just,
Yeah.
they've gained no ground. I don't understand. I'll never understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting, Cherish. I don't know the answer. I can look it up though while Katie's doing her next case. What is the statistic on kids who are actual runaways, and what percentage of that statistic are never found? That's a good question. I'll get some stats for you while Katie goes on to our next case.
Okay.
But Sebastian, still 100% missing, still
Yeah.
100%. There's nothing to
Nothing.
go on.
Yep. Well, speaking of which, let's talk about DeOrr Kunz.
Boy,
This is another one of those cases where
this is
somebody vanished. And this happened in Idaho. We've covered this case for a long, long time. He went missing on July 10th, 2015 in Ledor. Ledor is a place where his parents were camping. They actually lived in Idaho Falls, but they were camping with their grandpa. And we've actually been to the site where he disappeared years ago
yeah.
and visited it. Beautiful place, really beautiful place. But let's get into it. This is a case that has been hotly contested around here. Um,
Oh, yeah.
Local people are absolutely convinced the parents had something to do with it. They have made it completely untenable for them to even live around here. It's been a really, really hard situation. So on July 9th, 2015, his family left Idaho Falls to go camping at Timber Creek Campground in Lemhi County. What is that, about 2 hours from home?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 2 hours.
With mom and dad and grandpa's friend. So in the evening after dark, they get to the campground, and by campground, we just mean a spot in the woods where people put their campers and tents. This is not a campground that's like has KOA hookups. I think when we were there was a like a latrine kind of bathroom situation. But of course, this is not campground in the sense that there's running water and campsites and stuff. It's not. It's just a spot right in the woods up on the mountain. So they set up some tents. They have a camper. DeOrr supposedly sleeps with his parents. On the morning of July 10th, the adults have breakfast. The family friend recalls seeing DeOrr clomping around the campsite in his cowboy boots. Supposedly, he had cowboy boots that were too big that he'd been running around in. Later on July 10th, later in the day, his parents report him missing. They say that they left him in the care of Grandpa. His name was Bob Walton. He has now passed. While they went fishing or did other things. The story wasn't always completely set. It changed. They claim when they returned, he was gone. So at 2:28 p.m., Jessica Mitchell, his mom, calls 911 and reports him missing. And there's a huge local response. Search and rescue, canine teams, volunteers, locals, divers to a nearby creek into the stone reservoir. The creek itself, I could see a 2-year-old maybe drowning in it, but I can't see. It's not deep. It's just a little creek,
No,
but it feeds
you wouldn't
into.
lose the body in it by any
No,
means.
you couldn't. But there is a reservoir nearby, the stone reservoir. So, I mean, they search and search and search. There's people from all over this area heading up in there to search. People with their
Yeah.
four-wheelers and their side-by-sides and their horses and on foot. And they hire a private investigator that gets involved. And for a while, the public was kind of crowdfunding this public investigator and the private investigator. And then the private investigator tells the police it was the parents. I think it was the parents that did it. So the parents are like, well, anyway, you're fired. And locals continue to pay for him for quite a while. It was a hard one because he said a lot of really inflammatory things. Uh, and some people, of course, were running to the parents' rescue, that this was completely wrong. The parents were seen, while the search was still going on, the parents were seen in Pocatello, Idaho at a sex store buying sex toys. And that really pissed off the public. A lot of people that were searching felt like they really weren't searching, and they couldn't understand why. Because the whole rest of the valley was out looking for this kid, and people didn't feel like mom and dad were looking, not the way other people were. And that also created a lot of distrust in the parents. So cadaver dogs had hit on some spots and then decided maybe they were just cremains. Um, because he was supposedly wearing cowboy boots that were too big, they thought that if he'd been drug away by like a wild animal or something, that maybe that he would have lost a boot or something. They never found those. The parents have been, and the other adults at the campsite have been reviewed many, many times. Grandpa's friend was developmentally disabled and wasn't a very good witness. They weren't able to get a whole lot from him. Grandpa, of course, was quite elderly and then died a couple of years after DeOrr went missing.
And
The
he
parents,
was a real sketchy witness too.
he was a real sketchy witness. Yeah. He didn't seem to know that he was in charge of DeOrr at the time.
Mm-mm.
It's really hard to know what was true because a lot of stories were told. And some of those stories came from the PI, some of them came from the police. Really hard to know. But the parents were named as persons of interest slash suspects, citing inconsistencies in their statements in 2016. From 2017 to 2019, there had been some annual searches every year on the anniversary of his disappearance. There's always like East Idaho News always does something, and other news
They
sites
just did a
too.
few weeks ago.
Yeah. So it's been 10 years, and there have never been any arrests or charges, and he has never been found.
Just vanished into thin air.
Just vanished into thin air. There were some stories about seeing some people in a camper at one point that maybe he was kidnapped, but they couldn't ever verify that. They just have nothing. They just have absolutely nothing.
The parents have always been sketchy in this situation. I have, and this is just my personal opinion, long believed that something happened and this child was accidentally killed. And these were young parents with drug problems and criminal records and stuff, or at least the dad, maybe both, I think. Yeah. And that they just panicked and didn't know what to do. I think that they disposed of little DeOrr somewhere and then reported it this way, not realizing how it would blow up.
Yep. Because
it became a national case very quickly.
In a hurry, yeah.
Because this little child was 2 years old,
Yep.
you know. I genuinely think the parents do know what happened to this child. I also don't think that it was a murder. I genuinely think that he was behind the truck tire or something, some terrible
Dad
accident
had been
happened.
working on the truck in the campsite. He had been working on the truck.
That has always been sketchy to me, yeah. That something happened there, and if we drove out there, and it is just sagebrush as far as the eye can see till you get to that campground. And there are literally a million places to bury a 2-year-old. There really are.
Yeah.
In a place that no one would ever find.
And because the timeline is pretty dicey, they could have gone a long ways away.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Because there's just nothing. From Ledor to the campsite is 9 miles of sagebrush. Yeah. Nothing. Houses, no people, no farms, not shit, but sagebrush. Or if you go on up past that campground way up into the mountains,
and then that's up there, really rugged. Yeah.
Really rugged up there. Yeah.
I mean, the question was always, how far could a 2-year-old possibly get on his own?
He couldn't have gotten far. Walking through there, out there ourselves, No, it's very rugged. The
Okay.
other side of the creek is very steep. It
Yeah.
goes right up the mountain.
Yeah, there's no way he went that way. There,
No. And
nobody could
even
have
to
done
get
that.
to the creek was pretty dang brushy for
Yes.
a 2-year-old child, for someone as small as him to
Mhm.
even be able to walk to. It's just not.
Mhm.
And the creek was not very deep.
Yeah.
You know, there was nowhere for a
No.
little
He
body
could
to
have
get
drowned in the
stuck that they
creek.
wouldn't have been
He
seen. He could
definitely
have.
could have. But his body would have, I think, probably still been in the general vicinity. It didn't
Yeah.
track that it wouldn't have been.
There are a lot
I,
of tree branches and tree roots that kind of overhang above and in the
yeah.
water that he would have caught up on. Like,
Mhm.
yeah. Right. One speculation is they drove over him by accident. I genuinely
Mhm.
I think that's probably what happened.
Mhm.
And that they panicked and
Yeah.
reported him missing, thinking that this would get the attention off from them.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yep. Missy says she'd heard that there was a cooler missing, and there was a theory that they put him in there. There's been a lot of theories for sure.
A
Yep.
lot of theories.
Yep. Very sad case, and has just completely turned the lives of everybody associated with this kid upside down.
Yeah.
And there's
I don't
just
think
never
either one
been
of them
anything.
even live here anymore.
I don't think
I
so.
think
Dad was in a really bad accident a few years ago.
I think
It's
mom's mom is usually who gets quoted
yeah,
that still lives here and,
yeah. Well,
desperately
Mom
wants to
really went
know.
underground because they had received so many death
Mm,
threats.
yeah.
It's true, Christine. You could walk past a body and not see it. People do it all the time
And
in searches.
especially how brushy it is.
Yeah.
That's rugged wilderness out
Hmm.
there.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Well, one more, and it's an
Oh
Idaho
wait.
case. Oh,
Oh, I do have some statistics. Should I give those
oh
real
yeah.
quick?
Go ahead. Yeah.
So, in the United States, 460,000 children are reported missing every year. That's an FBI NCIC number. 99.8% of missing children are eventually found. So only 0.2% are
Hmm.
never found. 90+% of missing children turn out to be runaways.
Hmm.
Again, according to the federal government
Yeah.
in the US. And so, the vast majority are found, the vast majority are runaways. But
Hmm.
I think those statistics cause our system to not always take missing children as seriously as they should, particularly of the teenage age. We've seen that a lot
Yeah.
where, police will just say, oh, they'll come home in a couple of days. They're probably just off with a friend or, whatever.
Hmm.
We've heard that a lot. And some of those kids never come home. And one thing I just can't understand is I don't care if it's a runaway situation or not, they're a minor. This is still an emergency situation because where are they? Who is taking care of them? Who is making sure they get their needs met? Like runaway situations are just as dangerous,
Hmm.
especially now with the internet and kids meeting up with adults, all of that bullshit that goes on. But I think those stats sometimes make the response a little slower than it ought to be
Hmm.
in children that are older. Obviously,
Yeah.
toddlers and little teeny kids, that's not necessarily the case. But the
Right.
older kids, I've so many times seen police
Hmm.
go, they'll come home in a couple of days.
Sure.
Well, hopefully, but we don't know who they're with or who has driven them across state lines,
Right.
you
Right.
know?
Or if they're just being trafficked in their general area and they are going to come home in a
Yes.
couple of days, but they're still being trafficked
Yes, absolutely.
because
Yeah.
that happens too.
Yeah. Because just because they came home does not mean they're okay and does not mean that some bad shit happened to them while they were gone
Right.
and that they were with
Exactly.
dangerous people. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, should we talk about Michael Vaughn?
Oh, let's do.
All right. And we've talked about this case quite a bit as well. This is Michael Vaughn, or Monkey Vaughn, as a lot of people call him. That's what his family called him. So Michael Vaughn was born in 2016. He went missing on July 27th, 2021 in Fruitland, Idaho. Fruitland is a small town not too far from Boise. He was wearing a light blue t-shirt with a Minecraft logo, a dark blue or black spandex boxer shorts with lime green trim, and a dark blue size 11 flip-flop sandals. Mom wasn't home. Dad was in charge at the time, and he took the youngest, the baby, back into the back bedroom to change their diaper. And when he came back out, this kid was gone. He was just gone. Dad looked around the house. He looked around the yard. He started to panic. He called Mom. He called the police. The response was pretty quick. Pretty quick. Now, Dad doesn't really know. He was also on the phone for a little while, so we don't know. It sounds like it could have been up to maybe 20 minutes that he was in the wind. And then a large-scale search started immediately. And they had absolutely nothing. There was there was one maybe clue. They had talked about a man walking on Crestview Parkway or Park Road in the splash pad area around the time of his disappearance that people thought was suspicious, that they named as a possible witness, but they really didn't go anywhere. Then in 2022, that's when the Wanderers came into the conversation. And we've talked about this case a lot. So you might remember Sarah Wondra and her husband Stacy, crazy as hell. Remember these people?
Oh, God, yeah.
And Sarah told the police they were both going to jail for other things, for I think weapons charges. But she had told police something about this case. Basically, and Sarah is unwell, but essentially what she told the police is that he was buried in their yard. And so the police dig up their entire yard. They actually do get some hits from cadaver dogs, but there is no child in their yard. No body. Then there's some talk from Sarah that maybe he was actually moved, but that's where they put him first. The general gist was that maybe somebody accidentally ran him over. And, instead of doing the correct thing, they stashed his body instead. It's all super disjointed because Sarah is insane. Now, Stacy has now talked to the police as well and given a similar-ish story, but again, there's not much to go on. Sarah was actually
is in federal prison.
Yeah. So Sarah was arrested and charged with felony failure to report a death in relation to his disappearance, but was found unfit for trial. Interestingly, during this time while we were reporting on this, we received a message on Facebook Messenger from someone who grew up with Sarah, knew her and her family, and they said she has always been unwell. And that the fact that this was happening and that she was talking pretty crazy to the police and stuff was not a surprise to them at all, which I thought was pretty interesting. She also, her Facebook page, oh my gosh, and her TikTok.
Where I had to watch all those videos.
Horribly long, weird religious rants and seeking forgiveness and
lots of seeking of forgiveness.
It was
what she never quite said what, but I think we can guess.
Yeah. So he's still considered a missing person. They still don't have any idea what happened to him. They did have 4 people that they were talking to, Sarah Wondra, Stacy Wondra, and then 2 men that were supposedly staying at their house at the time, a man named Brandon and a man named Adrian. And their statements have all been inconsistent, and they haven't really moved on any of it. So police do seem to think that he was buried on Wondra's property at first and then moved, but they don't know to where. We don't really understand motive, if this was just an accidental death. That's what Sarah said, but we don't really know because, again, the statements have changed over time. Sarah is completely bananas. We just don't know.
We don't totally know what Stacy said. We've got some information about what Stacy said, but we don't know everything.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just such fucking torture for his family.
It is. And his mom has fought really, really hard for justice for him while also fighting a horrible disease herself. And in fact, it had been said for a while that she was near passing. And then very recently, there was a statement that went out that she was receiving an organ, I think a liver, right? And that
Yeah, it was a
she
liver
was
transplant.
the liver transplant, and that she was gonna live to fight another day. Still
Yeah.
seeking justice for a monkey. So that's all we know about that case. It's another one where a kid just absolutely vanished. It makes sense to me that he ended up a few doors down and maybe someone backed over him and it just all happened really fast.
Because the Wonders home was not very far from his
No,
family's
not very
property.
far at all. Just, yeah, down the block. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that story does track, but if that's what happened, why in the hell can they not just say so and say where his body is?
Because they were
Because
drug addicts and she was on home supervision at the time and wasn't supposed to have any contact with any of these people. And she was, and so they were covering for themselves. They did an incredibly selfish thing and covered their own asses, and if indeed the story is true. But there's still there have been no charges that stuck, and we don't know that there ever will be.
yeah,
It's a really sad case, a very frustrating case.
it's just awful. It just makes me so angry that people can't just be honest and come forward. Like, if you kill
Yeah.
someone's child, why torture them forever?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Right.
bad enough for them to lose their child, but you torture them forever by not just telling the truth about what happened. Like, come
Yeah.
on.
Yep. So he will remain a missing person because he is. But
Yeah.
that's what we know. So obviously on that case, if any evidence ever surfaces or arrests are made, we will absolutely let you know. But those are 7 cases that we still have our eyeballs on and always will until they are solved and people are in prison. That's our promise on all 7 of these cases.
Yes. Most definitely.
And it's Thursday. So this is the last show for the week for us. We'll be back next week on Monday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time for our first show of the week. Also, it is watch party next week. So on Wednesday, right after case updates from 6 to 7 at 7:15, we'll have the watch party. And we'll tell you more about it then, but it is crazy as hell. I will tell you that Mars already watched this last week and has been yelling at me to watch it because she wants to talk about it. And I'm like, I can't. I got to save it for the watch party. So
I know some of you know because I mentioned it in Discord, but I've asked for please give no spoilers for anybody that hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
Because it is a doozy.
Yeah. Well, tell us what it is.
It's Unknown Number on Netflix. So if you haven't seen it, don't watch it. Wait and watch it with us. But if you have, don't give any spoilers, okay? That's really important in this one particularly.
You
It's
can't.
called Unknown Number on Netflix. Save it up if you haven't seen it yet, and watch it with us next Wednesday. It is.
Be there.
It
Be
is
there or be
something.
square. Yeah. Well, it's been a very, very heavy week in crime. It's been a very heavy week here in the U.S. in general. It's also 9/11, which is a day that is extremely triggering for a lot of people. So please, please, please take good care of yourselves. Do something good for you. Go do a hobby. Do something outside. Get off the internet for a while. Take care of yourselves. You are worth it. You deserve that. I can't stress that enough right now. So, and I promise you I will do the same. And we'll be back on Monday. So, thanks for being here. This has been yet another production of the of the True Crime Squad.
Bye, everybody.
Season 6, we're back again. Kristi and Katie, your crime time friends. Stories, justice, laughs collide. True Crime Squad, come join the ride. Grab the clues, let's take a stand. For victims' voices, hand in hand. True Crime Squad, it's time to shine. Season 6, your turn, your time. True Crime Squad, where justice meets hilarity.